Now, each day, each week, you want to check forexfactory.com. This is one of the two we use, one of the two services we use for fundamental analysis. So forexfactory.com, I'll leave a link for it. As soon as you get on, you need to change to these settings right here. So untick the yellow folder, keep the red folder ticked, keep the orange folder ticked, and keep the gray folder ticked as well. And the actual what pairs that you want to put on right here, you want to tick USD, you want to tick GBP, and you want to tick Euro. And then you can just leave all these and apply the filter. Now, why I don't tick AUD or JPY? Well, that's because this is the calendar. So it tells us what news is going to be released. And Japanese news and Australian news, that only comes out in Asian session. So we don't really need to know anything about it because we don't trade Asian session. So it doesn't really matter what news comes out in Asian because we don't need to be aware of it because we won't be in any trades. So the news that will be coming in the session that we trade is USD, GBP and EUR. So it's obviously Euro, so countries around Europe, British, so British news, and then American news. So this is the settings that you want to have on if I just click apply filter. Now, the first point is orange folder. This will tell you stuff like bank holidays. It's actually the daylight savings time shift at the moment, but the main thing this is for is bank holidays. Now, it's quite important to know this because on bank holidays, you can definitely predict to see less volume in the pair that you're trading in that session. So say it's a USD bank holiday. In the US session, you can definitely expect to see less volume. You can still catch trades, but there won't be as much volume in general. So that's what we use the gray bit for. Now, in terms of the orange folder news, it doesn't matter what pair you're trading. So GJ, EJ, GA, whatever pair it is, gold, silver. When orange news, USD news is released, you want to be at break even at your trade because it can have a big impact on the market potentially, and it could wick you out like that. So once USD orange folder news is released on no matter what pair, you have to be at break even. Or if it's, say, a Euro orange folder, if you're in a Euro pair, so Euro USD or Euro JPY, you want to be break even. So that's if it's a Euro pair. If it's, say it was a GBP orange folder, if you're in a pair which has GBP in the currency, you want to be break even because it could have an effect on that right there. So orange folder, if it's USD orange folder, or it's orange folder for the currency that you're trading. So GBP for, say if it was GBP JPY, if it was orange folder GBP, you want to be at break even. So that's for orange folder. Now, red folder news, there is not really much red folder news at all each week. Now, you'll see a lot here. So it's funny that I say that because you'll see a lot here. But in fact, like in reality, pretty much all of these are at the same time each day. It's just different things all being released at the same time. And next week is a very high impact news heavy week. There is FOMC and there is NFP. It's never usually like this. Usually in a week, there's only kind of like a few red folders. So there isn't often red folders, but when it does happen, it doesn't matter what currency pair you're trading, you cannot be in a trade whilst red folder news is released because it is going to have an impact on the market. It's going to have an impact no matter what. So being in a trade whilst this news is released is just gambling. However, there is CPI, NFP and FOMC, but that's for the news strategy because you can actually trade them. But if you're in a trade and you hold it through red folder release, then that is gambling because price could go either way. You're just gambling on the outcome of the actual trade. So never hold through red news releases. It doesn't matter what pair or what symbol it is. So you could be trading GBP, JPY and red folder Euro news comes out. You've still got to get out your trade. So whether it's GBP, red folder, Euro, GBP, red folder, or USD red folder, you cannot be holding a trade throughout this data right here. It doesn't matter what currency pair you're on. If it's for one of these three red folders, you cannot hold through it. Now for speeches, it's kind of different. So how do you know if it's a speech or not? Well, it'll literally just say at the end of it, it'll say speaks. So if it says speaks afterwards, if it's orange folder speaks, just ignore it because it's not really going to have an effect on the market. You don't really need to care about orange folder speaks because speeches aren't too important. They're not as important as release data that comes out at a certain time like CPI or something like that. However, if it's a red folder speech, that usually means it's from someone important, like the Bank of England governor, Bailey. So if he's speaking, he usually does have an impact on the market. So what I recommend for this is that they will give you a release time for each bit of news. So every piece of news there is a release time. So if nothing's happened, kind of big movements in the markets within 15 minutes of the speech starting, then you can expect you can just go back to normal, go back to trading normal, because it means there probably won't be anything happening from that news event. But I have seen sometimes some insane movements from speeches. So this is why with red folder speeches, you need to kind of wait 15 minutes to see if any movement's going to happen. If nothing's really happening, it's just trading normally, then you can carry on as normal. So speeches are a bit different to everything else, but this is how you use Forex Factory. Again, it'll tell you the day and it'll tell you the exact time that it's going to be released. You just got to change it to whatever time zone you're in. And this will tell you, and it'll also tell you a bit more about it right here. So it'll tell you history. This is good for back testing if you want to kind of test the strategy out. It's good for back testing. So this is how you use Forex Factory. You want to do this every day before you come to the chart, so you know if there's going to be any news that you need to be aware of whilst you're trading.